Hello and happy Monday. It's about 20 minutes till 10 as I'm sitting in my office at Richwood Valley campus recording this video. Just wanted to get in contact with you and go over the discussion questions from last week. And last week was one of those, well, it was still a continuation of this lesson module here titled Functionalism and Competing Theories. And as I mentioned previously, this is just one of the scheduling oddities that comes along whenever you're taking a 16-week class and cramming it into 8 weeks. And so one of our discussion questions was still in this previous module embedded there and identified as such with this highlighted tab, well, highlighted text rather, that says week of 7-7. And then our other discussion question was related to the film that I had you watch for our proctored event. And as I mentioned in the setup of that, the question was sort of in anticipation of what we're going to be going on to talk about in the next week. But I already have those discussion questions opened up in their own tabs. Let's work our way through them really quickly. This first one here is specific to Maurice Merleau-Ponty and his phenomenological approach to the mind-body problem, or what is referred to as the mind-body problem. So after I, ask you to refresh your memory about one of the videos that was required viewing for the class, I ask you to respond to this following prompt, which was explain how the material in the above video, this one here, relates to our earlier discussion of Descartes' metaphysics. So we remember from the earlier discussion Descartes' dualism. Descartes makes this split. Descartes says that you are dual-natured. You have this mental stuff, which is non-material, non-physical, non-corporeal, and you also have this physical stuff, this body, this material stuff, this physical stuff that is bounded within space and time. And you have both of those. You have both mind and a brain. You have both mind and a body, according to Descartes. And of course, Maurice Merleau-Ponty fundamentally rejects that. He says that's the wrong approach. That's just a result of philosophical confusion. What Merleau-Ponty says is that you are an embodied mind, that you cannot separate the mind from the body. The body is how we come to know the notion of a self and the notion of a world in the first place. We can't even imagine what the universe would look like if we didn't have eyes, right? We can't even begin to imagine what sensory experience would be like if we didn't have a body, right? Clearly, sensory experience is tied to a body, and our body is how we function in the world, and we can't imagine what that kind of existence would even look like, or be, or how we would begin to have experiences at all in absence of a body. So there is no mind-body dilemma, according to Merleau-Ponty, because you're just an embodied mind, and you go at that's how you experience the world more generally. Now, of course, he said a lot more about it than that, but for the purpose of answering this question, you had to point those things out. And the other question, as I've already indicated, was, even though it's embedded in the section on mind, it isn't directly related to it. Again, this is in anticipation of stuff that we're going to be talking about in the current instructional week. So the question was really right here. So why do you think that the characters kept making those mistakes? So in the film depicts several people, they make a mistake, they have their memory erased, and they make the same mistake again. So I'm just sort of asking you, just for some conjecture here, obviously, as to why you think, why you thought that those characters kept on making the same mistakes. And most of you said something along the following lines, that just because you have your memory erased, it doesn't change who you are, right? Your likes, your dislikes are going to be the same. Your fundamental disposition, your fundamental character is going to be the same. Just because you had a memory erased, it doesn't change who you are. And so therefore you're going to be just as likely to make the same choice going forward, because again, who you are hasn't fundamentally changed. So most of you said something along those lines, and I think that's a perfectly reasonable direction to go, and it does fit in well. That line of response fits in well with what we're talking about in the current week. So let me bring that up and talk about what we are going to be part of what we're doing in the current week. The current week here, we are going over the free will determinism debate. And as I mentioned here in this setup here, we're approaching this from a couple of different perspectives. Well, several different perspectives, actually. And I have 3 different lecture videos introducing the 3 aspects of what we're going to be talking about. Baron de Holbach and his theory of hard determinism, Daniel Dennett and his theory of soft determinism, sometimes called compatibilism. And we're going to be looking at the existential libertarianism of Jean-Paul Sartre. So that's what we're doing in the present week. And so with all those things being said, I think I've touched upon everything that I needed to talk about for the purpose of this video. So I'm going to go ahead and let you go. I will ask you to enjoy the rest of the day, and I'll be in contact with you again soon.